questions to Nina. We'll do those answers briefly afterwards. So network infrastructure automation. This is not a product. This is not something you buy, you get. This is a simple concept, right? How do I take my infrastructure as code? How do I take my cloud pipeline, my Terraform workflows, make that result in changes not just in the cloud, not just in Kubernetes, OpenShift, but also in my network hardware, right? So if I have an F5 device, I have a manual process, maybe I deploy something in the cloud. Now I need to add a DNS record locally. I need to perhaps do a manual route, right, in some config in my routers on premise. This increased cost, this increased risk. You do mistakes, obviously, when you do this manually. So we're going to try to automate this for you. We'll get rid of the whole pipeline, simplify that with just adding it to your existing code workflow, right? So forget all these tickets, all these handoffs, all these manual processes, updating firewall policy, updating DNS. Again, we're going to use a combination of Terraform and service discovery with console, optionally, to help simplify and automate this for you. So changes of adopting automation. This is not just about network infrastructure, right? This is about all automation. Your Ansibles, your Chef playbook, your Chef recipes, your Puppet, anything that you're going to automate. Obviously, there is some skill ramp to that, right? But the results are worth it, right? And we tend to solve these with automated workflows. Again, one of our Tau points, our philosophy of HashiCorp's workflows, not technologies. So we're going to automate key processes for you. And again, what we do with this, again, not a product, just a philosophy, I guess, or a strategy that you can use with a couple of the HashiCorp products, Terraform, Console, and potentially even Nomad, is to obviously deploy on Terraform, right? Have Terraform maybe deploy some resources a little bit at a time as you migrate to the cloud. Nobody goes all in on cloud on day one, right? This is a gradual process in reality. It takes a while. But as we do that, we can also take advantage right away on day two with Console Terraform Sync, which is a relatively new feature to the set. Again, remember Terraform is a tool. Apply it when you need things, when you need resources, when you need to change resources. It's great for demos. I can show a customer a half-hour demo of Terraform. Look what I made in the cloud, ta-da, and walk away. And the cloud fails the next day, that infrastructure is down, right? Terraform is not going to know about that unless I rerun, unless I reapply, refresh, and do that, what we call drift detection. Console is there, again, to babysit, to make sure that I'm monitoring those infrastructure services, make sure that everything is maintaining its state, and also now potentially trigger a Terraform rerun if something fails, right? We also coincidentally have this new feature in Terraform Enterprise and Cloud called drift detection. So if you want to have Terraform periodically refresh for you automatically and correct any errors or mistakes, it can do that too. Again, when you're using the Terraform providers for Cisco, F5, A10, the community is really kind of very diverse. If you have network hardware that's not supported by Terraform, let me know, because I genuinely would like to find out. We have this single centralized workflow again. Use Terraform for the infrastructure. Use Terraform to help get your resources on the cloud, your cloud natives, your Lambdas, your cloud runners, serverless, your cloud native databases. Incorporate your network providers as well that consume those resources, and let Terraform figure out the rest, okay? There's a change made in the cloud. I need to update my local DNS, my local routes, firewalls, and network equivalent, etc. Okay? Now, Cisco, by the way, massive partner of ours. Cisco loves to have people automate with Terraform. They made a huge investment in HashiCorp to not only have a story around Cisco, but also have the latest and greatest providers maintained in coalition with our alliances team. All the Cisco code, Terraform providers, console integrations, etc., are made in collaboration with Cisco, right? F5, not just the hardware, but Nginx, right? And A10 as well, networking. I'm not sure what the networking stack is commonly here. Either Cisco or Juniper or whatever. I would be happy to hear that afterwards. Okay. So again, this is the Console Terraform Sync, which is now GA. It's actually been a while generally available. Again, I deploy some Terraform. Terraform optionally declares those services with a console provider. Console then monitors those services, and if, again, something fails or something drifts, console is there to potentially trigger Terraform run. So it's give and take, right? Super helpful. Again, Terraform is not a babysitter. Terraform is a tool. And with Terraform Cloud and Enterprise, we have a platform around that tool so that it can continuously run. But Console is there to immediately respond, right? Console is there listening constantly for health checks and infrastructure services. Now, how you configure this, and this is actually a bit of HCL, I believe, from a Terraform config, HCL or JSON options. We have a driver describing where our backend is, what provider we're going to use, almost very similar to how you would declare a Terraform provider, right? And here we have a task actually declared in a console resource as well. We give it a name, we give it a source, the provider, and variable files. Now, again, that's simple. I didn't have to declare 10 pages of Terraform for this. I just had to get a little bit of information to console to say, what do we do with that? Okay. Now the status, and this is now an API check, right? So I'm getting this out of console. This is, hey console, what's the status of that current task? And if I had to try to trigger a new run, did I have an error, right? I want to know that in advance, okay? And overall health status across all tasks within console. Remember, if you're using Kubernetes, if you're using Nomad, these services and these health checks automatically get registered into console. And if you're doing console Kubernetes sync, same thing. You have to enable that, but that is available. Again, Vault integration. Vault is really integrated in just about any of our products by now, either using templating or using the Vault agent to get up and running with a quick adaptation without refactoring all your code. And we avoid exposing sensitive values or credentials in plain text this way. And I think, again, namespaces. Typically, if you're using namespaces to simplify multi-tenancy, we can define that as well. And in the case of Vault, again, namespaces enterprise-only feature currently. Okay. The launch partners, again, the huge ones, Cisco, F5, A10, AWS, funny enough. VMware, I think Tanzu as well, Palo Alto, and Checkpoint. Okay, super quick. Look at that. Look at that. I got time to spare. Nino, are you ready for questions? Look how quick I did that. Look at this smile. I'm the only thing standing between you and your cha-cha right now, so. Actually, there's a panel next. Are you putting them down here? That's Georgian. I hope that's not my question.
Next one. There was no.
One day I'm going to learn that alphabet. It's so impressive.
Yeah, stop here.
Okay, cool.
So why use console with Kubernetes, Docker, and Mesos?
Okay, great question. Why use console with Kubernetes, Docker, and Mesos? Usually it's about multi-tenancy, right? Kubernetes is great, but it often struggles with the multi-tenancy, the federated networks. Very difficult to group more than one Kubernetes cluster together, and Mesos as well, right? Console has the availability to synchronize multiple services and multiple clusters, as well as outside of Kubernetes, right? So if I need to access a database, maybe even an on-premise database from a Kubernetes pod, okay, maybe I can just rely on the NAT network to do that, right? Okay, get out of the pod into the host and go fetch my database secret. That doesn't necessarily mean I'm using encryption, right? Okay, developers are probably doing that right now. They don't think about encryption all the time until it's too late, right? Console is going to be able to do that with a service mesh. So I don't need to know the IP address of the server. I have console automatically connect me via that local tunnel, that local listener, which is MTLS approved and MTLS authenticated. And then it's going to make sure that that is encrypted in transit, right? That can be, again, outside of Kubernetes. That can be in a different Kubernetes cluster. It can be in an OpenShift cluster, right? Console is the great uniter. It can be, in the case of global networks, I have a Kubernetes cluster in the US, Kubernetes cluster in Europe. Console is maintaining that topography and tomography, right? That ping time. What is my closest ping time for my service? And it also has layer 7 functions. So I can have an actual path that points me to a different Kubernetes cluster as well. Okay, I hope that answers your question.
Elena, can you run the next one? So previous one, not this. What is the best practice for storing static credentials?
Okay, so
related to Vault.
Perfect. Yes, of all questions. So static credentials. Good news. I've gotten so comfortable with Vault now that static credentials kind of make my skin crawl. If you see a static credential that has no other option, it has to be static, usually it goes into key value, right? There is another way, Mission Impossible style, for me to get a secret to Nino without anyone else seeing it, right? We have the wrap system. So any secret I get, if I generate maybe a TLS certificate or a cloud account for another user, I can, in the process of generating that, say wrap TTL. Instead of showing me that secret, it's going to give me a token that I pass off to that user, right? In the process of reading that token, it's destroyed, right? So it's create once, read only one time. So this message will self-destruct, very much like Mission Impossible. That's a great way to hand off secrets without them being intercepted, because if somebody else gets that before Nino or before the other intended user, it's gone, right? There's a problem. Otherwise, yeah, key value is the easiest way to go. The most secure way, generally, write your own plugin, right? If you have to have a generic static secret, write a Vault plugin for it if you can. And guess what? It's no longer static. So you do have that option. Okay, I hope that answers your question as well.